Patricelli.
Present.
Councilwoman Diamond.
Present.
And Councilman Dawes.
Here.
All is present.
Can I ask everybody to please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is your mic on now, John? There we go. All right. We'll start the meeting with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the July 11th meeting and the August 15th meeting.
I'll second.
All right, motion made and second. I'll call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond.
In favor?
And Councilman Dawes.
In favor.
I'll say yes.
Okay. All right, we'll start up by just acknowledging the fact that at 5 o'clock we were here today to talk about our start of our budget workshops. And it began today with the water and sewer budget. With the water budget showing 0% increase and the sewer budget looking at about a 3% increase at the proposal right now. All right, we'll move into reports of officers and committees.
For those of you in the audience, you might be hearing a new sound system. We just had this installed at 4 o'clock today. They did some preliminary adjustments. You can see the new speaker and the new microphones that are here. We'll be having one there as well. But it certainly is a great acoustical building that we have, so stay tuned. Let's see, from the general manager's office, the security gate and the fencing that we approved for Hudson Shores Park is going to be installed at the end of this week. Unfortunately, the company that was here got set back with weather and COVID, but they're back on track now, and they advised me today that by Friday of next week, the security gate and the fencing by the one playground will in fact be installed at Hudson Shores Park. And that will be pretty much the completion of the contract with cargo companies. Additionally, I know we talked last week about 19th Street and 5th Avenue. We have a temporary time frame that we're looking to try to target the temporary signage at 19th and 5th Avenue. We're looking to try to do the last week in September and roll that into the first week of October and go forward at that point, taking some field counts as to movements and those type of things along the way, but we're going to try to stay on track for that to be at the last week in September and that first
Joe,
week.
is that the, you said temporary signage, is that to move the red light
Yes.
from 6th Avenue down to 5th
Yes, so
Avenue?
we'll put the light at 6th Avenue on a blinking caution coming out of 6th.
Oh, okay.
So it cautions the people coming out of 6th that they have to make a cautionary movement. And then the other one will be caution as well, going east and west on 19th Street. But all signage will be, directing people where to go.
Okay.
Once we get in there, they'll have detour signs and so on. So, like I said, we're going to try to stay on track for the end of September. And I wanted it at this time of the year when school buses are going to be involved.
Yes.
If we did it during the summer, we really wouldn't know where the impacts are going to be.
Because there were a couple of comments about that.
Yeah.
This is taking a left onto 19th Street. from
Right.
6th Avenue.
Right. So we're going to wait and see. Like I said, we'll hopefully have everything devised. If we can put a detouring way, we'll be sending it to the bus companies and to the school and have them involved as well. We'll put something out on Facebook as we normally do too. The tree bid did go out to all the tree committees. There is a mandatory walkthrough that everybody needs to attend. That is October 10th at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. We'll be meeting at one of the parks. There is going to be an addendum going to be handed out that day to those that attend. There are several trees that I talked with the tree committee about, specifically Dan McGrath, and he added a couple of trees along the way that this tree pruning and removal bid will do. So that'll be going out, and we'll have that ready for bid acceptance at our next meeting on the 19th. Speed bumps are in place on 7th Street Park. You can see those installed there.
Joe, you're taking away all my stuff.
That's exactly what I plan to do.
Okay, good.
When were they installed?
I think it just did this week, yeah, yesterday, either late yesterday or early today.
Oh, all right.
They're there, so. Germain Church, as you heard from council last week, what I needed to take away was find out if in fact they were given a letter, and that letter was in fact given on July 12th, and to this time frame, no response has been back to code office at this point in time. So we'll be talking with council as to next steps.
All right, a letter telling them to...
Yeah, we're looking to try to get in this time, so we're going to talk to council to see how we can get in and devise a plan.
To clean it up or
Yeah.
whatever, to see what it looks
We
like.
want to try to get into the building as well,
Yeah.
just to see what's going on.
Oh, that's okay.
Mayor, I know I already spoke to you about this one, about Centrica, the heating system. They were there on site today looking at that, so we're going to keep monitoring it. I did lock the system down, so it can't be turned on or off by anybody. We did notice going back in the history that people, 2 times they tried to turn it up and down, once on a Tuesday at 11:45 a.m. and then once on a Thursday at 11:50, I think it was like 58 or 52. So someone's trying to change the heating systems. So anyway, those are locked down. They can't touch them anymore. Lastly, what I have is the SAM's documents have been in to Brad Fassel, so he's got those. That's done. And lastly, the water break that we had up on Route 155. Unfortunately, we were trying to have that go this past Tuesday, Monday, we were going to try to open it up. We have yet to been able to close the valves. When it comes out of the water plant, it then splits across both north and south on 155. And there's actually a series of 3 valves right as you come into the plant, and then there's a valve right behind the garage. We can get that one closed. That one's number 11, and you got 10.6, 10.8, and then I forget this number over here. But anyway, we could not get the one closest to the road closed, which is the one that actually sends the water across the way, because it's all gravity up until the bridge, and then it becomes pressurized pipes. So we actually had to go to the arsenal and borrow their hydraulic wrench. I think that was one of the things that Amanda talked with David about, that we might be able to get into this year's budget because we're in a pretty good position with funding. But get a hydraulic wrench, which is a pretty interesting tool. It goes around a square shaft that can actually help our guys pull it, because some of those turns, this was like 141 turns that it had to make in order to shut the valve. But because it was an older valve, we were having trouble breaking the seal because it's never been shut off before. The reason why, in talking with Scott, we've been discussing this daily, is to go at this with kid gloves, because I don't want to have to shut down the entire system. If we shut down the system for a couple-hour breaks to fix, or a couple-hour break to be repaired, that could be multiple hours that we fix this 18-inch pipe, which is cracked. We then have to alert Department of Health, and go through a whole series, water boiling, taking tests, and so on. So I've cautioned them that it's not an impact on our system at this point in time. We are pumping the out, we have to pump out the hole, but I don't want to go through a full closure of it. The idea of going across the road and shutting this pipe down is our secondary pipe, which is on the south end of 155, can actually feed the city and backfeed uptown without causing any issues in our water supply. We're going to flush hydrants and so on, so we don't see any issues of dirty water. Yeah, a couple homes may get it, but if we shut it down, it's a bigger shutdown, and I don't want to take that risk right now. So that is the last that I have, unless you have other.
Well, you know, but it was good. There was also talk last week at the last meeting that Dave was going to give us that phone report.
Yeah, and I have the phone report. I didn't digest it as of yet. I can tell you, you probably already know the number that Dave told you. We're about 45 or 52% of answering calls.
Right.
What I plan to do is test back the calls coming in to the calls going out. I want to see where we stand as far as answering, and I have it all on Excel spreadsheet right now.
Okay.
But I know we're about, 46 to 52% answering the calls coming in.
Okay. Okay. I know we have on here for the AOH, I believe,
Yes.
how are you making out with the alley down in 6th Avenue?
Honestly, Mayor, it is coming up on my list, and that'll probably be done by October. We'll be out and talking to everybody.
Dinner?
What's that?
Dinner?
You want me to pay for dinner if I don't do it? Okay, you're on. Because I don't like to
It
pay.
won't be a
I
Charlie
do not like
or
to
just
pay.
not. Can you bring us up to date on we had the meeting on the garbage?
Yes. So the garbage, we met with code enforcement, we met with sanitation, the supervisor, and Katie, and Brian was there, as well as Chris and the mayor. I don't think you were on vacation.
No, I was there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
You were
There was
there.
that other yes,
I apologize.
I
That's
know.
the-
With the mayor.
Yeah, it'll be early.
For most of it.
So you all know then what the outcome was of that meeting. The intention was that code enforcement, along with Mark, Katie, will be taking photos as we go forward. But
Has that started yet?
we did not, because of the holiday week, I did not do that. We were back a week and everything got pushed. So, and then we also had one of our drivers off due to the suspension issue. So we did meet with code, and I did talk with Hank that will start next week going forward. In the interim, Brian and I also looked at creating a position, and it was a solid waste inspecting official or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, basically, it's solid waste officer or
Yeah.
something like that.
So that is on schedule to be at civil service in the October meeting for it, and we can hire in that position prior to with it. So we had to make one adjustment to it, but that will be at civil service for the October meeting. They will call a public meeting or a public hearing on it, vote on it in November, and this is going to be a position that will be going through the HELPS program, which is one that does not carry any testing with it. So we can appoint to that position, and it will be a non-competitive, right?
Yeah, and it's subject to...
Non-test.
Non-test.
Right, so not competitive. So the default is that all positions are competitive, right? And you have to have a reason to take it out of the competitive test. So the hope is that the local civil service commission will approve it as non-competitive. That does sometimes require that they then pass it on to the state for kind of final approval, which is an extremely long process. Worst case scenario is competitive, which would mean somebody would have to take a test, but I think the most important part is to get a job spec that covers the duties required.
Excuse me, I don't even know if I turned the mic on.
That is
I
the,
don't-
and
Can you put a test out for that too?
And that was the unfortunate part with the last time we went out. We got two retired firemen, both who were code officials at one point in their career. One from Albany, one from Schenectady. Both did not want to take the test, but the other one wanted more money to do it anyway. But because they didn't want to take the test, no one wanted the position.
This is part-time, right?
It is. It's going to be Monday through Thursday, and we're looking at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Possibly we may extend that to 11 or 12. We got to see. The thought up at that room when we all talked was we did get that position okay to move. My intent was if we were going to be doing 4 days a week of violations or fees associated with it, was to get a part-time assistant there but that won't be in this cycle, but maybe down the road. So maybe we have to look at bringing in that person, or keep that person an additional hour or so, maybe do the backup that goes with the paperwork. So, but
Did you say we could hire someone before it
Yes,
goes
we
through
can.
all of
Yep.
that process? Okay.
yeah, so I hope to have that completed with Carol by next week, and then we'll probably put it up on paper.
Sounds good.
Okay. I just want to keep you up to date too on, I did receive a call from Bill Keeler. He's looking, there's a little bit of help. I guess they got a new city clerk, and they also are looking to possibly do some creative thinking with the assessor position. I know that that's another issue we have here, so something that we have to talk about, maybe discuss it with Brian and Bill, whatever we talk about later. Okay? Just to bring the date in that. Also, at one time we had talked about the county helping out a little bit more with DPW and some issues that we could handle, maybe shared services and supervision or work on that. I'd like to, again, in the next month or two, start having a little bit more of a discussion on that to see where we might be able to look at that. Also, at one time, several months ago, I believe Brian suggested a garbage consultant that we might want to think about somebody who we can actually bring in and look at what we're doing and to see what we have and give us some ideas that we might be able to do better handle. That I know we talked about it before, but I know we probably talked more to Scott, but I think we need somebody who's going to actually delve into it and give some recommendations. I believe, I know part of the one problem we had was we did work on the CDL training.
No, we are looking into the CDL training.
Right.
Yeah, I've been talking with Galavan on it, and I was talking about Galavan. I don't want to get into specifics on,
Yeah.
record here, but we're working with them for just their overall CDL process, their training, and so on. I did send one to Brian, but you said it wouldn't work out here. So I'm looking a little bit more as to where some of those classes for CDL can be at.
What about the county?
I can call Scott on that one, Scott Duncan.
I mean, because they must have something already pretty much set up, so maybe the Scott might be able to.
We're talking with Town of Colony, they do their own stuff internally, and they couldn't find a mechanism for our guys to be, because we drive their trucks and those types of things.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
I couldn't do
Maybe
that.
like Troy or something, is that possibilities? Yeah.
I mean, I just told her, I'm sure that Troy or county, I'm sure we can probably work out something. I know we have a meeting set up with John McDonald on some of the grants, and that part of that is with the generator.
That's in with Brad. That was part of what I said earlier, that the facet.
Right. Okay.
And I'm getting an updated quote, because that one there, it was never complete as we wanted it. So we are going to get an updated quote from Brian on that.
Just want to also keep the council and everybody else up to date too on the 4th Street tunnel. I was working with the DA's office on some money to be able to come and pay for a camera at the 4th Street tunnel. It didn't really too much work out, but I did work out with the controller's office, Sue Rizzo, and we actually applied for a grant under their parks program to get the camera paid for by under the parks program. So I had pretty much the entire grant application, or the actual narrative and the components already written up for it. The DA's office took that, put it into a format that Rex worked on, and then we submitted that last Friday for it's a little bit under $10,000. So that was done. Paul helped with shining it up a little bit, and then we submitted it. The other thing too is Joe mentioned about the speakers. You can hear very well back there. Again, the speakers, this system also was initially part of the grant that they received from the New York, or the Watervliet Charitable Foundation. They're going to pay for part of the speaker system here because it's part of the overall programming that we do here for, that will go on here. And I should mention that, with that John passed away. And, he was probably pretty much responsible for almost $1 million worth of donations to the city here over the course of the years. Something that a lot of people have taken, or not advantage of, but taken, how do I call it? For granted, thank you. That's, for granted, because a lot of the money went for $5,000 to the soccer programs and football programs, and not much was, no fanfare about it. But John has put a lot of money and efforts, and actually one of the latest, of course, was the bells, which also brings up the fact is that I've worked on a project here that we're going to be installing a chime system in the bell tower here. So there's going to be chimes in our belfry. So that's the funny part. So I actually signed the contract yesterday, sent it out. Joe, did you call that guy on that one?
The one that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. So he does not make one that has a 4-foot clearance on the inside. The
Okay.
largest that they do is 18 by 18.
Okay, small.
But he did suggest the size that we need for cost perspective. He says is to hire a company to build it
In place.
in place.
Mm.
So that may be the way we'll look at too. So I'm going to talk to Gallup.
Okay. So we are actually going to put a cupola up on the top here. With some speakers, there'll be a box just similar to what that thing looks like with a little screen on it. You can play all kinds of songs, and chimes, and my birthday, and everything else on it. So, but that is going to be, it's on order probably 4 to 6 weeks before that gets in here. So we've been working on that. So that also is being paid for under the charitable foundation for the components part of it. Joe, the other thing is, I know we get a lot of the streets this year. One of the things I'd like to ask you is when you sit down and you actually develop the street inventory for next year's paving, that we become a little bit a part of it and we get a little bit more of a detail on our the priority. Remember the list that we did on some of them. I know I have, just like anything else, you do 10, you got 10 more really right behind it. So just to be able to see what we got when we're ready to put it together. So we have that.
Yeah, I just gave Art on all the streets we've done in 22, 3, and 4, and I showed you the GIS earlier today. They're now working on the paving street side of things and updating the most recent list.
So that's
that'll be-
great.
yes,
That's the
that'll be
color
on-
coded map with the streets
that's-
that
yeah,
are.
and that'll be on that GIS mapping too.
Right.
Awesome.
Great.
Okay. I don't have anything else. You?
I do, please. Crosswalk at 12th Ave, now the school's back. It needs a fresh coat of paint. I think with the contractors, they did 10 feet when they put in the curbs, but they don't go all the way across, Joe.
Yeah.
It goes across.
Well, you're talking 12th Avenue.
Between 12th and Hillside,
Yeah, east
down
and
by
west.
the new Central Bakery. There's a,
Oh, you're talking inside. We didn't go that far. Okay,
It's not contractor work, it's our work.
correct.
We used to go straight across, but when the contractors fixed that curb, they painted 10 feet in each direction, but they didn't go all the way across.
I don't know if you've noticed the new design on particularly 12th Avenue and 19th Street intersection, and you'll see it, I think, on 3rd and 5th, we applied it there. It actually has, instead of going and dead-ending into each corner, it actually jogs out a little bit to connect, to give someone a safe, zone to be within. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but we altered the design a little bit to give people just a little bit more space to walk through.
Right. Yeah, I should notice that.
Yeah, take a look at it.
Kids go down to school.
Yeah.
13th and 7th, residents up there have to have a stop sign a year ago. But I'm not sure if we asked the old chief, he was going to do a study or he was going to already got back there yet there.
Okay.
So I don't know if it warrants a stop sign. So please say no. Just we want to let the residents know what it's about.
Okay.
And finally, for me, the guardrail that we put in by DPW, is that a final?
Yes.
That's final, that
Yeah,
can
as I mentioned to the council before,
residents that live over there, want to see if they can open it back up.
no, absolutely not. I can't advise that. In fact, I told you we would advise it because that lady went on record saying that she used that as a cut through to get past the light,
Yeah.
to beat the light. So I am not going to open it up where they're coming onto private property, and God forbid something happens, that it does that. So, and we're moving forward with the changing of the gas tanks. But again, it was my recommendation.
No, I just want somebody to get back to us.
Okay, I can put it in writing if you'd like, and send them a letter or just call them.
Well, I'll answer his call first. If he wants. I'll just
Okay.
tell him.
Yeah.
That's all.
Now, Mayor, you asked a couple of questions that I was going to ask, so on one side.
Okay. All right, good. We'll move on to old business.
There is no old business before the council.
New business.
Okay, we did hear from Amanda, presentation on the water and sewer budgets today, so we'd like to call a public hearing for September 19th, so we can have that public hearing for the public to discuss in a presentation.
I would note the city clerk, I believe, is out until that, or close to that. So somebody needs to make arrangements to
Yes.
publish it.
Okay.
I'll work with Chris tomorrow and do that.
Very good, thanks. All right.
Move on to new business.
Yep.
Okay, number 3. You can see I gave you a new packet because some of these changed. I had it down as a resolution last night, and in fact, it is an ordinance. So ordinance 3 is an ordinance approving the sale of city-owned parcel.
I'm on the motion on ordinance 3.
And I will second that.
This parcel here is the one that is the dead-end 11th Street on the west side of 9th Avenue. It's a 4,771 square foot parcel that at once would have gone through into the arsenal, but it's, like I say, the dead end, and it's attached to the parcel of the AOH. And you remember we did a law for the city to sell unused parcels. This is the one they approached the city. We then, by the law, the way it was written, we went to abutting parcels, gave them an opportunity to bid. We provided them with the survey of the parcel, and we did get a bid back from Columkill Associates with a bid of $1,525. They, in fact, were the highest bidder. The other applicants put 0, so noting they did want it, and the ordinance is for the sale of that property.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, in order to pass, it would need to have unanimous approval.
All right. And call the roll.
Okay, Mayor Patricelli,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
In favor.
All voting yes. Next on the agenda is item number 40. This changed a little bit from last night. In fact, when you read this resolution last night, I had added that it was inclusive of the right-of-way next to Wicked Smart, but in fact it wasn't. But this is a resolution approving the change order number 2 for the paving contract with Louisi Brother Contracting and authorizing Mayor Charles Patricelli to execute all documents regarding the same.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we move on resolution number 40 for 2024.
Second motion.
So just final on that, this one here is for 18th Street alone, and that will be from 7th Avenue West going to the dead end of 18th Street. The interesting interesting thing about this addition as well is National Grid is doing work on there, and we've agreed over the past 2 years now, whenever National Grid comes in, to not do paving, and we go in and pave that street afterwards, and then they give us restoration money. So they measured out all their impacts on the street. The overall bid for this is 3,200 square feet. National Grid will be responsible for 4,612 square feet of it, which will be about $5,000. So it'll offset this 36,000 by 5,000 for National Grid.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions?
No questions.
Call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
Favor.
All voting yes. Resolution 41, a resolution approving the agreement between the City of Watervliet and Watervliet High School District regarding a school resource officer program and authorizing Mayor Patricelli, Charles B. Patricelli to execute same.
I'll make a motion on resolution 41.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, this is a similar MOU that what we did the first time around, the SRO got back into Watervliet High School. The contract period for this document is, or for this period, is a 3-year agreement commencing September 1 of 2024, going through August 31 of 2027. When we first got back into the school using the SRO being paid by the school, it was $60,000. This one increases to $75,000.
But it's for 5 days.
5 days a week, correct.
Any questions?
No? That's great.
Okay, call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
Favor.
All voting yes. Resolution 42, a resolution designating a seeker Type 2 action relative to the New York State Environmental Facilities Grant application for the lead line inventory program.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we move on resolution number 42 for 2024.
Second.
Okay, this one here is typically when you take actions on project and there's a seeker involved, you do the seeker first and then the other documents follow suit. This is part of the federal government that we got. We got an EPA grant, and this is for the lead line program. We'll have subsequent documents talking about the actual cost of it, but this is a Type 2 action where no impact is really recognized in the review of the seeker process. And this will have to go
Idea
as
how many households have lead lines?
well. Right now,
That's what we're trying to come up with.
yeah, we're trying to come up with that now. I think we've been in to about 1,600 of them thus far, and it's weighing on a higher amount of lead, versus, and I think every urban core is going to have the same type of
Right,
issue
because
going
it's
on.
old,
Yes,
old
Yeah.
construction.
but this will be part of the project that we're looking at but seeker has to be done first.
Okay.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
Favor.
All voting yes. All right, so this one here, Resolution 43 for 2024, is a resolution authorizing participation in the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation lead line inventory grant program.
I'll make a motion on resolution 43.
I will second that.
All right, so this is the one that we got, the funding that we got under Drinking Water State Revolving Bipartisan Infrastructure Lead Mine Service Program. It's called the acronym DWSRF, project number 19730. There was a letter that we received back on March 29th, 2024, advising us that we were awarded $515,000. This is part of the program that we have to have an inventory, not necessarily completed, but it's going to be an ongoing inventory inventory because we can update it as we go forward. So this grant award will help us identify lead lines within the homes that we can't get to. For example, if it's in, if we can't get into the box, because you got to look at before and after what's coming off the main and then what's going into the households. So at the curb box, this will help us either vac information or the dirt out, giving us greater information as to what's on both sides of that curb box. And if we go forward with the program, this is not for repair, but it is strictly for inventory.
Okay. Any questions? Call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
Favor.
All vote yes. Last one on the agenda for the evening is Resolution 44. This is a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Weston and Sampson's PELS LAPC regarding the lead line inventory program, and hereby authorizing Mayor Charles V. Patricelli to execute all documents regarding the same.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we move on resolution number 44 for the year 2024.
I'll second
Okay. This one here is to have Weston and Sampson assist us with developing the criteria and submitting the criteria to both Albany County and to the state under the lead line program. The agreement talks about a scope of work which will be helping us meet the criteria and the information that has to be compiled in order to set that in to the state under the documents they provide to the city.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
In favor.
All voting yes. That is it for this evening's action items.
All right, well, thank you. Amanda, there's anything under appropriations coming you need to bring up?
Just would like to remind everyone that workshops will be the next 2 weeks at 5 o'clock here at the Cultural Center. The 19th is PD and FD, I'm sorry, not the next 2 weeks, the next 2 meetings. Police Department and Fire Department are on the 19th, and then DPW and Admin are on the 3rd. Water and Sewer public hearing and presentation will be on the 19th, with hopefully a vote on the 3rd. The general fund presentation will be November 7th, with the presentation and public hearing, and then the vote hopefully on the 21st.
Does that work on your time? You good?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we're headed out, what, the first week of
December.
December?
Usually good.
Okay. All right, we'll open up for the public comment period.
Okay, I don't know this deal by heart, but you will have 2 minutes during the public comment period, Matthew, to have a conversation with the council.
Hello, everybody.
State your name and address.
Matt Beagle, 1016 24th Street, Watervliet. I have 2 things. First, hello, everybody. The first thing I want to talk about is it's the safe route to school place. Can I give you this? It's 10th Avenue as part of the process of the safe route to school. And there's a house on it that was burned out, I believe, 2 years ago. 2320 is the address. And nobody is maintaining it. And the pictures show that you can't walk the sidewalk. And also in that same packet, there's a blockage of the driveway from 7 Stars. So both sides of the road are blocked, so kids can't walk the sidewalks. They have to walk in the road. So I don't know who's responsible for the house, if it's in foreclosure or if it's owned by the insurance company, I don't know. But isn't there
I
rules?
think I was told it was sold. There should be something that cleans it up.
But it hasn't been mowed or trimmed the entire summer.
That doesn't surprise me.
That actually, Matt, what was the address on that
I
again?
think it's 2320. It's on the house, it's on the
Right
picture.
next to Brian White's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was my first thing. Second, we need a podium.
You want to go over?
Yeah, I have to.
I'll put that in.
Okay, I have 3 cars that are, I believe, abandoned, because I looked it up. Here's the other stuff. The articles for abandonment of vehicles. One is on 24th Street, 2 are on 10th Avenue, and there's, both the ones on 10th Avenue have flats. I called it in twice to the police
To
department.
PD.
And, they roll you over to the sheriff's department because it's a non-emergency. So I reported it twice. It's been at least 3 weeks that those 2 cars with the flats have been there. The one is from Massachusetts. There's no stickers in the windows, but I don't know if there has to be. The other one has a failed inspection paper in the window. And in front of that one, there was a car there before. It's a huge oil stain in the road. So they're leaving leaky cars on the road. So that
When was
was
the last time you called PD, Matt?
yesterday.
Was it? Okay. I'll talk to the chief tomorrow.
Is that a residential, from a residential, or is that a business up there?
Well, I can't say if they're from the business because they're just left there.
Between 23rd and 24th? Or
Yes,
24th?
between 23rd and 24th, but they're on the end of 24th side. They're nowhere near the 7 stars.
Sure.
And then the one is right on the corner of 24th Street,
Right.
but that one's pretty close. I don't know what the setback is for keeping it away from the corner, but
I had asked-
watch your corner.
I had asked the police to monitor that street for like expired registrations or no inspections or vacant vehicles for, let's say, 3 months now.
But the thing is,
That's the thing, chief, on, I'll get them.
can they be ticketed? Because according to
Well, they should
the...
be towed. If they're not registered or whatever, they'll probably be towed.
I tried reading the ordinances, and it says, some of them say 7 days without being moved, some say 2 days.
But that's if they're registered and inspected and they're legal. From what you're saying, is they're not even legal.
Well, they could be. I don't know if they're legal, but they do have 2 of them have flat tires. And they've been there at least 3 to 4 weeks, the 2 with the flat tires. So between the 2 things,
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to the chief tomorrow and get this,
If it doesn't happen by next week, can you let me know?
yeah, I've been keeping track of how long they've been there. Like I said, today I took new pictures just to prove that it's still there today.
I do know, I mean, even with the old chief, and I know that I had 2 or 3 conversations with the new chief, I mentioned a couple of cars. Within hours, they were tagged, and 1 car was immediately towed. So I think it's not getting to the right people and the right
A few
way.
weeks ago, one was towed. That had Massachusetts plates with New York inspection and New York registration sticker. So I knew that one was illegal.
The new chief has been up there, because he's dealt with one of the other residents up there.
yeah,
Do you know if they looked at these 2?
I don't know.
We don't
I
know.
know he was up there, to be able to talk to a resident that lives
Like I
up
said, it looks terrible. They've got these grease spots, and they're bringing them all up our end now because they're having trouble down at the other end of the avenue. So now they're putting them on 24th Street too. So that was it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
isn't that bad?
Thank you, Matt.
look in the paper, there will be an opening for a solid waste coordinator too.
I got the credentials too.
All right. Anyone else?
there. The driver, really driver.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll close the public hearing.
We'll close the public hearing, and then the next meeting will be September 19th.
19th, it's actually 5 p.m. for
The budget,
the budget.
okay, 6 o'clock here.
I'll make a motion.
Great. You can view it from Hudson Shores Park or from the 4th Street Tunnel.
Yes, when is that?
Tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, the tugboat, that is right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, very good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Oh, and I'll second that.
Okay.
Call the
All in
roll.
favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor Patricelli.
In favor?
Thanks, Chris. Councilwoman Diamond
Favor?
and Councilman Dawes.
Favor.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank God you made it, Chris.
Talk to you.
No way we could close this meeting